Everything stays right where you left it. Everything stays, but it still changes. Today is July 24th, 2026. The Mercury retrograde is ended. I still feel like shit, but that's besides the point. Today's principle in the Dakota is, well, this version has it written as, I do not own anything except my weapons. Focus only on what is necessary. When I first went through it, I believe this lesson or this principle was more akin to do not own weapons or practice with weapons that you no longer need. You know, like you don't need excess. You know, this kind of stoicism, this kind of philosophy, this kind of minimalism is kind of wrapped in that same thought. It's wrapped within that same vein. But I think that this does go deeper than weapons. You know, like I love boxing. I love training boxing. Like it's something I really enjoy, and it helps me physically, but also helps me get out a lot of frustrations and stuff like that. Not that you should fight angry, because you should never be fighting angry, but there have been times where things in my life have imploded, and I will just sit there at the heavy bag and wail on it and cry. It's very cathartic, you know, like that's happened quite a few times in my life. Yeah, but thinking of this in a minimalistic kind of way, all it really means is that the tools that you carry should serve your discipline. That's all it really means. It just means that the tools that you carry should serve your discipline and not distract from it. You know, like just simplify it, focus in your own mastery of your discipline, your own mastery of whatever it is that you're choosing to do in your life. That in itself will, no, let me say this differently. Let me say this differently. Your tools should serve your discipline, not distract from it. So simplify, focus, and then mastery will follow. I think that's the best way to break it down. So like mastery will follow if you simplify and focus on your discipline, and the tools that you have should reflect that discipline. I was losing the battle yesterday to the little voice in my head. I did. I lost it. I spiraled, and I didn't do anything with the spiral, but I did spiral. I did go for a drive. I did let the little voice win. Am I proud of that? No. Is it a work in progress? Absolutely. And you know, something interesting that I was thinking about today regarding this principle and what I've been dealing with. Something interesting is this. When we go through hardships, especially ones involving our heart or just any emotional hardships, especially because life is full of emotional hardships, right? Like no matter what, you're gonna have an emotional hardship. Like, oh, I'm not in the job that I want, I'm still chasing my dream, but maybe like I'm 27 and like, damn man, maybe I'm 35, like whatever, right? We all have hardships. Mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, whatever. We all have hardships. And there comes a point in those hardships where you unfortunately take a step back and you think to yourself, my life would be a lot easier if I was numb. If I was numb, if I let myself go numb, none of this matters and I will be okay. I think that's a thought that we've all had as people, as humans on this earth. I think that is a thought that we have all collectively had. What if I just go numb? Or for many of us, we were numb at one point in our lives and then it changed, and then you have to deal with the battle. You deal with the battle of, do I go back to that place that I was when I was numb and I wasn't happy, or do I stay unnumb and deal with all of these emotions, deal with everything that's going on in my life? Like, do I face this or do I retreat back into who I used to be? And that in itself is also another devastating fucking conversation to have with yourself, I think. So with that in mind, I'd raise you a different thought in the same vein, but a different thought. Do not go hollow. I don't think it's worth it to go hollow. You know, if you're a fan of Berserk, you know, they use that term, like, no one wants to see you go hollow. And I think that rings true for every human. I think that rings true for everyone watching this. I think that rings true for myself. Shit gets hard. Shit gets hard. You could be going through the eclipse from Berserk. You could be going through anything that Guts had to go through. Or on like a minor level, you could be dealing with heartache. You could be dealing with loss. You could be dealing with grief. You could be dealing with all of these different things, all of these factors. You could be dealing with uncertainty. But at the start and at the end of the day, nobody wants to see you go hollow. If you went hollow, it would be a detriment to the world. The world would lose color. The world would lose the gifts that you bring to the world. And maybe I'm just talking to myself here, because technically that is what I'm doing when I make these videos. I'm just fucking talking to myself. Like, I hope one day I look back on these videos and I see how far I came, or maybe I don't look back ever and you know, I truly do just leave all this in the past. But I'm trying to get on my way. I'm trying to discover myself. I'm trying to do these things. And something I learned about myself is that when things get really fucking rough for me emotionally, I try to run. I try to run like I'm a coward. And I hide it behind this idea of, well, if I go away, then this will be a lot easier for whoever else is involved in the situation. Like, it'll be a lot easier. If I go away, this will be easier and they will be happy. And that is, now I see that that is cowardice and selfish. Is it intended to be that way? Absolutely not. But it still is that way. You can't make decisions for other people when it's their decisions to make. No one wants to see you go hollow. You don't want to see yourself go hollow. And as far as having weapons or practicing with weapons that you don't need, my discipline is writing. My weapon is this pencil. You know what I mean? Like, this is my weapon, you know? And partially another weapon is this notebook. You know what this notebook says on the front of it? It says, life is a journey. Take notes along the way. That's what this one says. This was a gift. This bookmark that's in here, this leather bookmark, was a gift. Most of the things that I have in my life have been gifts, and I hold them and I treasure them extremely, extremely so. This little green dinosaur is a gift, as well as a reference to a project that I worked on, or that I wrote. My rock over there is a gift. It's like there's so many things that I have that are gifts, and when I think about these gifts and I think about that unwavering desire to be numb, to go hollow, to disappear, I think about these gifts and I have to remind myself, no one wants you to be numb. Nobody wants you to go hollow. You're so much more important and so much more valuable intrinsically if you allow yourself to feel your emotions. Like it's better for you to learn how to control how you react, like control your reactivity, become aware of your reactivity, and be better at choosing when to take a step back and not listen to the little voice and just allow things to breathe, I think. I think that's a big part of it, is allowing things to breathe. Space and time can be a good thing. I think we just have a very bad relationship with it because of how our life has transpired thus far. But don't go hollow. I'm working on an animated series at the moment. I probably am going to start writing the pilot episode today, if I'm lucky. And I keep having like certain thoughts and like certain ideas, and it's kind of gotten wrapped into the magic system of the world. And one of the main things about the magic system is everyone can like become witches, like everyone can do magic, but they have to realize what their like secret power is. Like they have to be so sure of themselves, or so sure of like a very important quality that they have within themselves, that's when the goddess blesses them like with the magic ability, like the actual power. And one of my favorite characters to think about so far, their magical ability is imagination. If they can imagine, then they can summon, they can conjure, they can do everything. Basically, if we were power scaling, this character is fucking broken, right? But if they lose their self-belief, if they lose their self-worth, if they start to hide, or if they start to shrink themselves down to fit the mold or fit someone else's idea or anything like that, if they're not 100% true and authentic to themselves and like to their energy, they won't be able to do any magic whatsoever. So we have this character that's loud and ambitious and whimsical, and she's super fun-loving and energetic. She's like a fireball kind of thing. Like she is a fireball, and it's unwavering. She's like the sun. Like no matter what, she's going to shine, no matter what. And I love that about that character, and I think that's something that I value deeply, because I've never been that person. I'm not even sure if I'd like being that person. That feels like a lot of fucking work. Not like work, but it feels like I would be sitting there, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just don't know if I would like to be. I'm sorry if you can hear the cicadas. I don't know if I would like to be a person that's so loud and like out there about who they are, but at the same time, I think that's the goal. Like, if there was a goal to the series, if there was a goal for who I'm trying to become, and there is a goal for who I'm trying to become, but it's kind of broad. It's, I want to become a good, loving husband, a protective husband, a caring father. I want to be like these very distinct things for this archetype of a person, of a man that I want to be. I want to become the purest version of my definition of what a man is. And by my definition of what a man is, a man can control his reactivity. That's like a main thing, is a man can control his reactivity, and a man is gentle and kind. I think of Aragorn, like being aware of your shortcomings, being aware of your faults, and still knowing that you are enough and that you can still do good things and do great things even though you have these shortcomings. The Lord of the Rings quote that always fucking gets me is from Aragorn. It's when, you know, Frodo asks him, like, would you have gone? Like, would you have stayed? Like, why are you leaving? I'm paraphrasing. But, like, it's that scene, and Aragorn says, I would have gone with you to the end. Into the fires of Mordor. He doesn't go because he's scared. He doesn't go because he knows that he's corruptible. And he can't allow his corruption to affect the journey. He can't allow his possible corruption to prevent the world from being saved. He knows and acknowledges his shortcomings, but it doesn't stop him from being the king. It doesn't stop him from returning as the king, you know? And Aragorn is emotional, you know, like he doesn't shy away from his emotions. And I think that's my definition of what a man should be, of what a father should be, of what a king should be. You don't shy away from your emotions. You don't run off and be numb. Like, you feel them, you give them their space to exist. You look inward and truly decide what it is that you want, truly decide who it is that you want to be in your life every single day. Like, going forward every single day, you take that time, you take that work. And he's kind. I believe that a man is kind in all aspects, not just in, well, if I self-sacrifice this, then that means that I'm kind. No, it does not. Self-sacrifice can be selfish. Self-sacrifice can be selfish. I think I just grew with that realization a little bit. Because I'm always doing self-sacrifice. I'm always thinking in self-sacrifice. You know, self-sacrifice sounds like this very noble thing. Like, yes, it's my paladin oath that I will always sacrifice myself for the betterment of other people. But if I self-sacrifice in a situation that involved love or involved somebody else, and I pulled back because it appears that the person that I love would be happier with this other person, or be happier in this other situation, or whatever like that. If I pulled back and I made a decision for them, that's not self-sacrifice. That's self-sabotage, and that's selfish. I don't want to do that. I think that's the next part of this journey, of this growth that I'm going through, is it is definitely writing a lot more and getting back into writing, like bringing that spark back. You know, I used to think that when the spark was gone, that was it, because I was with someone and they said, you know, the spark's gone and it's not coming back or anything like that. I think the spark comes back. I think when the spark leaves, it's a time where you actually choose. You know, like you choose. And the spark for writing was gone after those events in 2024, and what do you know? It's back. And I'm really, really loving being able to write again. It's been so helpful, it's not even funny. But I want to be kinder. I want to be truly kind. Not nice, like some people, like, fuck y'all, disrespectfully, fuck y'all. But like, I want to be kinder. I want to be truly kind. I want to not self-sabotage or self-sacrifice, because that's just selfish disguised as something noble. Honestly, I don't want to do that shit. So we're learning how to not do that. We're learning how to not give in to the little voice. We're learning to not go numb if we're allowing ourselves to feel these emotions, even if they're gut-wrenching, even if they ache my heart, even if it would be easier to just not feel them whatsoever. We're choosing to not go hollow. Nobody wants to see you go hollow. I think the fucking fan got picked up that last time, so that's unfortunate, but yeah, nobody wants to see you go hollow, including yourself. So don't do it. Feel the emotions. Feel the emotions. Feel the weight. Excuse me. And let it go. I know, easier said than done, but every day we get better at it. Every day we get better at letting go if we choose to let go. I'm not saying let go of people. I'm not saying let go of experiences. I'm not saying let go of hope. I'm saying let go of the negative emotion that you have surrounding the situation. You gotta let it go, or else you're never gonna grow from it. It might take you a few days, or it might take you a little bit to do so. But as long as you try, trying is better than not trying. So. Be aware of your shortcomings, but do not let that overwhelm you. Your entire life is not shortcomings. If you can be aware of your shortcomings, you can be aware of your blessings. You can be aware of your strengths, if you don't want to get like kind of biblical with it. If you're aware of your shortcomings, be aware of your strengths. Don't just focus on the shortcomings. I would have gone with you into the end, into the fires of Mordor.